Well, this morning is, as you can tell already, is going to be a little bit different, right? And what we're going to do is part of our journey of exploring the realization of a new humanity and Renaissance Unity's role in it and your role in it. This morning, I've invited a truly blessed, authentic, humble, intelligent, and very kind new human, Mechele Tison, to share with us her message that this morning will be entitled Introduction to a New Humanity. And as Beth has already said, after that, she's going to lead us in a meditation. She's asked that we actually not play music together with the meditation. She's shared with us that there could be a whole lot more focus into the meditation that she's going to bring. But Mechele is one who has genuinely realized this fifth level of consciousness, this new human consciousness that so many are sharing these days, that is the call of our day. Mechele is not only realizing that new humanity consciousness, she's actually been trained by Divine Marga New Humanity and its leaders Satmindo and Leon Premananda to guide others in realizing the new humanity's consciousness. Let me just share a little bit more about Mechele. First, she has actually spent time in her journey studying at a Unity Church in Houston, Texas. So she knows us here in Unity. But Mechele's interest in new humanity began with the desire to raise her own consciousness. She's actually shared with me that she spent a lot of time studying the work of David Hawkins, who many of us here know and many in Unities know, and his work on levels of consciousness prior to being attracted into working directly with the Divine Marga New Humanity, and it also has the New Humanity Foundation. This evolved into her understanding that this higher consciousness is available to everyone. It's available to everyone. She is now, as mentioned, a new Humanity Divine Marga teacher and is involved in expanding the New Humanity Divine Marga into the United States. She's actually the ambassador here for them here in the United States. Her background is also in software training, marketing, and e-commerce, so she also has a background that many of us also share. You know, we all have our work environments as well we're working to raise our consciousness. But Mechele lives with her beautiful family in the Woodland, Texas area. Would you please join me this morning in giving a warm welcome to our guest speaker and meditation leader, Mechele Tison. Everyone.
Well, hi, everybody. It's great to see you. I can see all of you here the same way you can see me. So it's great to be here this morning with you on a Zoom call. And I didn't hear David's introduction, but he found us several months ago, New Humanity, as he was starting his Stairway to the New Human series. And we found that we dovetailed so wonderfully in what we're interested in. Again, my name is Mechele Tison. I live in Texas. I live kind of way north of Houston. And I became interested in spirituality from a young age and searched in many ways. And Unity Church was a huge part of that for me. I went to a large Unity Church in the southwest part of Houston for years, and I used to love for instance, Course in Miracles groups and various spiritual studies, books we would study, and going to like oneness transmissions. It was a huge part of my opening into being more interested in learning more about spirituality. And I always loved the extremely encouraging and positive message of unity. This was a really big deal for me, and it was really, really helpful. And for me, this just continued, this spiritual interest, even as I got married and raised a family and was working and doing all of these things that we do. But a number of years ago, when just searching, I had become interested in the levels of consciousness and opening more, spiritual evolution. And I didn't have a lot of time. I couldn't go like meditate in a cave or go live in India. I mean, I just was at home. But fortunately, I found New Humanity, and I found my teachers, Mindo and Leon. And I'm going to share my screen just to show you a website. and so that you can kind of see a little bit about what New Humanity is. So, and Mendo and Leon are actually the founders of New Humanity, and they are on the Maltese Islands. Malta is, you've probably read about Malta in the Bible. Peter went to Malta. It's also said that Jesus was there too. They actually live on the island of Gozo, which is one of those Maltese islands. It is a city of light. It is an island of a very high vibrational energy, which is a wonderful base for them to do their work. And so basically, the goal of New Humanity Divine Marga, as you can see, is to help others open in consciousness all the way up into the liberation of the soul, all the way up to the divine. So the entire evolution of consciousness from the starting point and as high up and or more as open as someone wants to go. And they do this through various, there's a picture of a bunch of us at a retreat in India recently. So they have a few in-person retreats around the globe every year. And then, as well as those online, there's online Zoom meetings every week, hundreds of YouTube videos, lots and lots of information that that kind of gives people something to work with, lots of free YouTube videos, as well as a store with videos that are for transmissions for higher consciousness for those who are interested in that. And so basically, I just worked more and more with transmissions as well as meditations on my own, just at home, regular life, and just began to experience these openings more and more. And the purpose of transmission and why that is a very important feature of higher evolution is that, as you know, as being part of the congregation that you are, when you put yourself in a higher vibrational energy field, it's easier for yourself to open up more. The more you're in a field where that supports opening and supports higher consciousness, then you can open more. And so that is why it's kind of a highway approach, kind of speeding things along a little bit. And so that is one of the reasons that transmissions, through videos and through in person and through sometimes, individual calls, whatever somebody wants to do, can just help somebody who maybe is a little stuck, who kind of is looking for a greater opening. And that's something I've just been interested in. And the spiritual evolution that all of you have been talking about. And when David first reached out to us, he asked if he could use the chart for New Humanity, and also asked, if we'd be interested in speaking to Unity. And we said, definitely. And I'm going to open up the chart here in a moment on my screen, but I think that David has kind of been showing it to you already. And it's just sort of pointing to what is spiritual evolution? Rather than it being a vague concept, what exactly does it mean when we're spiritually evolving? And then what is possible as far as how far does that go? What are the openings and what does that look like and feel like? So I'm going to open up the chart that I think that you've already seen before, and just as kind of a look at that a little bit. Excuse me, moving around PowerPoint a little bit. And so this is the chart, the levels of consciousness and the steps to full consciousness that I think that you've looked at before. This is sort of looking like a ladder, like it's from down to up, like stepping up a ladder. In reality, my experience, and probably your experience too, of opening and evolution is actually an opening and a softening. The levels of consciousness can be said to be a demonstration of the density of the mind. So, for instance, when you say a person is quote unquote low consciousness, it might just mean that the mind is full of a certain density, very heavy emotional content, maybe very heavy conditionings and things that sort of keep one from feeling connected to their higher self and really stepping onto the path of spiritual evolution. Now, people, like you guys, well, of course, people interested in spirituality and interested in evolution have moved on their own, or maybe they were born a certain way and continue to do emotional healing work. That definitely pulls one up. And so you see on this chart, you see the 3D physical and the 4D astral area of higher positive emotions that you see on the right side of that chart, such as trust and inner will and allowance. And generally you find people who are spiritually oriented already naturally, a lot of times through deep emotional healing work, kind of finding themselves here and are really poised to open up into the genuine spiritual evolution. And so that's what we're going to talk about here. What is the spiritual evolution? What exactly does that mean? And what are the steps to it, so to speak? Now, a lot of times people spontaneously awaken. That could have happened to some people that I'm talking to now. Uh, Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it can be through meditation, specific meditations that help one open themselves up. But it is through, when you look here in this chart, what we call the inner light awakening. Here at New Humanity, that's what we're calling this, the inner light awakening. This is the awakening that brings us to the connection to our higher self, the connection to the Spirit of God. Before then, sure, we have a certain amount of connection. We're drawn to be connected to our soul more strongly. We're drawn to God. We're drawn to do this work. But sometimes we're having trouble keeping there, like the connection's not firmly established. And so a true awakening is that establishment and a full connection to the higher self and to the Spirit of God. And so this is what we call the inner light awakening. And so, to talk a little bit about what the inner light awakening is, and I'll stop sharing the screen for just a moment. The inner light awakening is where one makes that spiritual connection, and in that, we sometimes call this the astral dimension, and sometimes you'll also hear about Kundalini awakening, because sometimes if somebody very spontaneously has this kind of awakening, they could have symptoms. With New Humanity, when we help people through transmission open up, it usually is so gentle that there's not really any what you would call symptoms, but what is felt is a greater clarity, a greater sense of light opening, like everything seems brighter, more clear. You can feel that there's been an inner awakening, that you can see things that you couldn't see before. I don't mean visuals or anything. I just mean more the realities of life, like maybe some of the things that might have been blocking in the past, or just creating sort of a blockage, or ways that you've not been able to heal. And certain truths of the world sometimes become more evident that are uncomfortable. So it's more than just a mental awakening when somebody connects like this, though, because they can feel that they're definitely receiving more intuition and that they are connected. And on that chart, you would see that right above that, so to speak, is the higher self awakening. This is actually just a very gradual opening to an even stronger connection to the higher self. And this happens through just more deeply immersing oneself through meditations and through making that conscious desire to, deepen and expand. So with this, what happens throughout this process is that the density of the mind decreases quite a lot due to letting go. As one connects to the soul and connects to the spirit, uh, the density can be released more easily. There's more support for it. It's not so much struggle. And basically, this is what I mean by the opening, because some of the conditionings of the mind soften, not only those that we've carried our whole life from childhood, but even in the mass consciousness, things start to soften, to open. And that is why we're experiencing that light, right, and that greater intuition more, is because of the opening and the softening. And so, even while physically being here in our life and going to work and family and all the things we do, this is just something that can happen, even incorporated into our life. And that's sort of the magic of this, and why I love that David has been talking about this. It's because sometimes people might think they have to go somewhere really far away. They might have to go join a spiritual community, in Thailand, or not that there's anything wrong with that. Some of us don't have the opportunity, or you don't have the opportunity to go live in India and, live in a holy place where you'll get the higher spiritual vibrations. And so the truth is that evolution is available, where we are, like in our house, in our life. Um, just recognizing that it definitely takes some time, that due to the just overall density of humanity, of the mass consciousness, and that also that we carry in ourselves, that we're releasing progressively. And so this is the platform. This inner light awakening is the platform that kind of is the launching pad to move into the fifth dimensional consciousness of what we call inner love and unity. And I'm going to show that chart here just for another moment. And we can see here on the chart, we looked at inner light and inner wisdom, and that's sort of how we're opening and expanding. And then we were kind of finding ourselves moving into what we would call the fifth dimensional new humanity consciousness begins. This is the opening that everybody's just very interested in, the opening into love, into unity. And so this again can be done. There's many meditations and practices that help someone progressively just open to this, so that the fifth dimensional awareness is in one's life, even while going about all of the normal daily living. And so with this, for instance, the inner love, this is a very noticeable opening in consciousness. And some people here might have already, through their work, have opened to some of this already. But this is felt as not so much as the emotional love, although the emotions are still there, but just more of an expansion, a more expanded awareness that begins to contain everything and everyone, a tremendous softening of perception. Often of love just bubbles up. A lot of emotions can start coming up here, even a little bit of purging of some of the heaviness. The huge density is usually gone by this point, but still some of the things that are the opposite of love want to start coming up. So it can be helpful to have some support during this. And as one just deeply immerses themselves into this energy field, and including continuing to do meditations and practices that support it, there's the opening into unity consciousness. Now, as a level of consciousness, this is experienced as feeling more automatically, naturally connected to everyone, to everything, to all of nature. It is the oneness that you hear about. And it is a beautiful spiritual honeymoon. And this whole area of inner light up through unity consciousness is where about 90% of all spiritually awakened people reside. So it's especially when somebody really dedicates themselves to this work, so to speak, of releasing the density, letting go, making that strong connection with the higher self, and moving into love and feeling sort of the expansion, like instead of yourself being narrow, kind of this small I, feeling an openness that begins to encompass more. You can imagine this is just a beautiful state that most people would never want to leave. And in fact, for most people would find that there would be no reason for it. And but years ago, I remember reading, and many of you probably know of this as well, Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now. I was just obsessed with this book. Maybe it was 20 years ago or so that this came out, but I would just read it and read it. And I remember wanting that for myself, that the peace that he spoke of, the more unshakable sense of presence that he used, and he used being in the now, and he also used some of the other terminology. He also spoke a lot of the pain body, which I resonated with, definitely. And I was so tremendously interested in what he spoke about, that presence, that peace. So when I began working with Mendo and Leon and New Humanity in the beginning, it was learning about the levels of consciousness that made me understand that there was an opening that basically correlated to that as one moves into a higher dimensional consciousness. And and that was something I was so very interested in. And that is the presence consciousness that was on the chart. And we'll go and look at that in a moment again. That is actually harder to open up to. There's fewer practices and fewer meditations that allow that tremendous expansion to happen. Although it certainly can be done, and many people do open up on their own through, meditations and practices. And at New Humanity, also, we help people through transmissions and just the work that we do for those interested to open up. And that can happen pretty easily. Now, we'll remember that Eckhart Tolle talked about, being in a park bench for a long time and unable to function. So no, usually when someone moves into that gently, there's that kind of thing doesn't happen. But the sense of I really weakens. That sense of being a strong individual self really, really weakens and softens. And due to that, the subconscious material can start to come up. And I'll share my screen and just look again um, at this. There we go. And in the presence consciousness, which we see here, kind of right above the unity, it's actually more of an opening. One expands into this open space, and it really is like dropping into oneself, where one can begin to experience the peace and the presence and a certain stillness. This is actually what in New Humanity we do refer to as the spiritual adulthood. Many times things in the new age realm will stop being of any interest as one wants to just more settle in into a greater stillness. This is a little bit interrupted with some deeper emotional healing from the subconscious that can come up. But as a person lets go of what does come up, they become more greatly rooted into this presence. Presence can be similar to when you see like the roots of a tree. As one more deeply is immersed in presence, it's like the roots are growing tremendously and kind of rooting one into the earth, so to speak. And with that, a greater healing of the conditionings can be released. And many people just enjoy this tremendously. A lot of spiritual teachers are in the level of presence or non-duality, which is noted here, just a far deeper level of presence and teach from this. But actually, it's not what we would call enlightenment. It is the pre-enlightenment state. It is also somewhat difficult to open up into enlightenment. Some people do through just intuitively knowing what practices to do and what meditations to do. And at New Humanity, we help people as well move into what we call the first enlightenment, which is awareness. This is like a vast opening. And it is much lighter than presence, where one is working through some denser material in a beautiful state of stillness and peace. Everything expands in awareness and softens drastically. And this what the remaining conditionings and more subtle emotions, it's not so deep and heavy, can more easily just kind of flow through into the mind and to be released. And the sense of being that separate identity is just decreasing more and more. And even while going, through all the emotions of life and all the normal ways. And this just continues the great void, which you can see here. You can read about these on our website. There's a lot of detail for each of these levels of consciousness, a lot of detail. But I'll go through that briefly. That is just into the unconscious, basically, and it does help kind of safely bring up some of the more unconscious material. It usually is sort of quick until one kind of pops out into the opening of the divine love. And so this is just a greatly expanded and soft area of consciousness where one can really begin to feel love without the emotional context. And this just continues into the opening of full consciousness. Full consciousness is the natural self. It is not an end. It is actually true that when someone is in full consciousness, they actually are truly themselves. When one is living with their emotional reactions far less than ever before in their life, it's more of a true, authentic living, kind of in the way we're supposed to live, but without the heaviness that tends to be collected into our field. And so in full consciousness, one is able to really allow that process in the more subtle realms to begin clearing out and moving away from us. It doesn't end at New Humanity Divine Marga. We do the path to the full soul liberation. So it is a divine path going even much further than full consciousness. And stop sharing the screen. And so that is sort of the path of the New Humanity Divine Marga, and is kind of what we're talking about with the new human. Now, this doesn't mean that every human is interested in that full scope. For many people, just being awakened or in the unity consciousness is a lot. It contributes to the overall collective consciousness, and is just a beautiful place to be in general. But I wanted to give you the full scope of how we view this and kind of what this teaching is. And what I'd like to do now, since you always do a meditation, I know you usually do it before the talk, but we're going to do it now because this is going to be an a meditation on the inner light awakening. Now, I don't know about where everyone is, in this group. Some people might have had this awakening and be in there or even further, but it never hurts to be involved in a meditation or transmission because it only deepens. It only just deepens and brings us into a higher connection, a stronger connection with our higher self. And so what this meditation is to just help you establish into the higher self and into this awakening, the first awakening. And you're welcome to just repeat this. Since this is being recorded, you're welcome to just repeat it. And also on New Humanity, I think Vivian was going to send out some information, but there is a store with some of these meditations, several of them, for anybody who would like a guided meditation from Mendo Leon to help them, because sometimes it needs quite a number of repetitions before we're firmly in, right? Until we've firmly made that connection. So I'd like everybody to kind of get ready for the meditation. What I say is just to put your feet flat on the ground. It's a great way to meditate. A lot of times people, sit cross-legged, but I like it when my feet are just flat on the ground. It's a very grounded feeling into the earth. especially because in this meditation, we're going to be releasing any heaviness we might feel into the earth as we make this connection to our higher self, to the Spirit of God, and to that connection to our soul. So, what I'd like you to do is close your eyes. And with your feet on the ground, your eyes closed, just take a deep breath. Breathe in and out. I like to just drop my shoulders. Just helps me with the relaxation process. Dropping the shoulders to help settle down into the body. Just take a few deep breaths to settle yourself into your body. And we're just kind of slowing down. I'd like you to, in your mind, just ask your guides to come forward now and to assist in this meditation. To assist in the inner light awakening and or whatever is available at this time. Ask for your guides and your higher self to be of assistance to you at this time. And we offer this meditation to the Most High, the highest power, who is supporting us in this meditation. Take another deep breath in and out. And as you feel your breath, I'd like you to notice the space around your breath. And feeling the space opening up a little bit around your breath. You might notice that there's a little bit of heaviness. It might be some emotions or any other type of heaviness kind of in front. And what I'd like you to visualize is a blue sky all around you. And if you don't visualize easily, just having the intention is all that's needed as well. If you feel the blue sky all around you, it is a light blue light, and it's a light blue energy all the way around, as far out as you could see. And whatever heaviness or emotion might be in front, move your attention and awareness outward into the blue light and the blue energy. This is where we establish the connection with the inner light. The inner light is a very bright blue light, like a blue sky and like a clear blue sky. You can also imagine yourself like a bird, like a white dove, flying through the blue sky, completely immersed in it, in the light blue energy. And in this space, we're going to allow a waterfall of light to clear some of the emotions that may be in front of this, that may be in front of this inner light. You're in this spacious blue light, and I'd like you to visualize or make the intent for a waterfall in front of you. You can see a beautiful waterfall in nature. It is a waterfall of light. You can move a little bit more closely to it. And as you come closer to the waterfall of light, let yourself enter it and kind of stand under that showering of light, flowing through you. And you can feel it moving all the way down your body, all the way down through your feet. And what this waterfall of light is going to do is going to wash through and remove the density, the heavier emotions down into the earth. And so what I'd like you to do is visualize this light as it pours through, taking any darker gray clouds of energies that have been in your field and just moving them down through your body, your legs, your feet, and into the earth. And we'll do this with the breath, in a pattern with the breath. And the way we'll do it is as we breathe in for 4 seconds, we'll visualize the light pouring in. Hold on to that light inside of us for a couple of seconds. For 4 seconds, we'll breathe out, pulling all of that heavier energy into the ground through our feet. And then a couple of seconds feeling clean and pure, and then we'll repeat. So taking our first breath in, feeling the light pouring in through the head into the body, and hold the light inside. And as you breathe out, feel that pouring through, bringing anything heavy down through your feet into the earth. And hold, feeling clean and pure. Take your next deep breath in and feel that light pouring in, holding on to it for a couple of seconds. Breathing out and letting it move all the way through you into your feet and down into the earth. And feel clean and pure. And just do this on your own for a few rounds. And any heavy energies seeping into the earth and the connection to the inner light. So even as we leave this meditation in a few moments, you can carry this with you. As you come out of meditation, you can have the intention to keep the connection with the inner light. And this helps establish it further and further for you. And so when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes and come out of the meditation. The way that we come out of meditation is important. By being still and kind of containing some of that energy, we keep it with us, charging us. You can say that these meditations and transmissions are a charge for your own energy field. So you just keep some of that with you. And feel free to repeat this if you enjoy this, just to repeat this meditation when time allows. There also, I think Vivian is going to send out information with some of the New Humanity links to some of these meditations that you might be interested in, as well as you can look and see what events we have, just in case you have an interest to jump on one of the Zoom calls that happen on Tuesday and Thursday. Again, the Eastern time, it's noon that they happen. And just to learn a little bit more, also Mendo and Leon both have books that have a strong transmission and really beautiful and help a little bit with maybe understanding of this evolution as well. And so I'm so grateful to have had an opportunity to speak to you today. I wish I could meet you in person. Everybody just looks so lovely, and this was an absolutely wonderful joy for me to be asked to do this. Thank you, David, very much. I greatly appreciate it. And that is all I have for now. Thank you very much.